Guys, I am back with another process video, and I'm just showing you a quick sketch here. Um, this is a new series that I am starting with Hannah Lemieux, and we are calling it Scrappy Playdate. And basically what we're going to be doing is a variety of different things. Sometimes we might use a sketch, sometimes we might use a recipe, sometimes we might focus on a product, and we're just going to each create a layout of it and post it. So this is our first one, and like I said, that sketch is one that we are using, and that is from Shamel Lane. And so what I'm doing here is I am just starting with a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, and then that is a scrap piece of paper that I trimmed down to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to be using it as a mask. So yeah, there I am, just trimming it down a little bit, just getting the size right. And I'm going to use my T ruler here and just make sure that it's in the center. So I'm lining it up on the grid in the background, in the middle, the ruler, and then I'm using the middle of that ruler to line up the square. And just adhering it down a little bit, making sure that the edges are really close to the paper. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz marker spritzer here and some distress markers, and I'm going to spritz around the edges. So this is picked raspberry that I'm using here. The blue is peacock feathers, and the yellow is squeezed lemonade. And if you've watched my videos before, you know I love this tool. I use it all the time. It's just great. So I'm moving on to the blue here, and this distress ink is wet when you apply it this way, so I am trying to be very careful because I'm definitely the type of person that if there's wet ink, I will smear it. So I'm trying to be very careful here when I'm moving this square, and I'm just lining up evenly, and now I'm moving on to the yellow. So I'm going to pull up that mask, and I really like how that came out. I love when things come out as you plan. So I'm just hitting it with my heat tool there just to make sure that everything is dry before I move on. And I apologize for leaving in this drying footage, but as I mentioned in my last video, my iMovie is acting up, and so sometimes I just want to get the voiceover done and I don't do a lot of editing. So this is, I'm just taking my adhesive remover here and removing some of that adhesive that got stuck on there. And this is one of those tools that I didn't have for a long time, and then once I got it, I'm like, how did I ever live without this thing? It's great. So I had planned on using a different picture when I first started creating this, but then when I was looking through these pictures of our Disney World trip, I found this picture of my daughters with Cinderella's stepmom and the sisters, and the colors in the sisters' dresses matched perfectly. So I thought, why not use it? So I'm just grabbing some Heidi Swap mist here, and this is the black one, and a round brush, and I'm just going to dip it in there and create some paint strokes around these squares. So I knew that I always wanted to do this part, but at first I was thinking I was going to do it with India ink. But since I wasn't planning on doing anything that had to do with like any other water or anything, I just decided to go this route. It'll dry quicker. So yeah. So I just put a couple of hash marks in there just to add some interest. And yeah, I think it came out good and really defined those squares a lot better. So I'm just hitting this with my heat tool again. Like I said, just trying to make sure everything's dry because if I don't, I will smear it. Just prone to things like that. So I'm going to go through this paper pad, and this is a Heidi Swap paper pad that was at Joann's a while ago. I don't know if it's still there or not. And I'm just pulling out different papers that coordinate with the markers I used. When I was going through my markers and comparing them to the paper pad, I actually meant to use my evergreen bow instead of that peacock feathers, but I forgot to switch them out. So it's all right though. It coordinates all right. So I'm just trying to figure out how big I want these squares, and I'm just making a tick with my fingernail and then cutting it with my trimmer, and they ended up being 3 by 5, I believe. So I'm sorry, you'll have to excuse my voice. I am battling a very bad cold right now. And so, yeah, sorry about that. So I'm going to mat the picture on this. It's a really light gray and white diagonal. And I love a diagonal to mat. So yeah, I matted that picture on there. And now I am pulling out this Cosmo Cricut 12 by 12 vellum pad. And I'm just looking for a pattern that I can set those squares on, or those rectangles on. I want something that will kind of hold its own and ground those squares. And so I decide on this gray kind of geometric pattern. And I'm just going to glue those rectangles. Oh, I'm going to edge them in this Prima black chalk edger first, just to give them a little bit more definition. And then I'm going to tape them onto this piece of vellum, and I really like how that ended up turning out. It just helped ground everything a little bit more. And, you know, I wanted to make a point too of how versatile sketches can be. So I've never been a big sketch user, but in the times that I have used them, I have found that my layouts come together very, very quickly because I tend to follow the sketch very closely. Now, it's interesting because when you see Hannah's video, I've seen a picture of her layout, and she uses the sketch more as a starting off point and then creates her own layout based on that, which I think is very cool too. And I think it's just interesting because you can interpret these sketches any way that you want, use them any way that you want. And I just think it's cool to see how people use them differently. So yeah. So I decided I wanted to also double mat this picture, just give it a really slight black edge to it, just so that it stood out a little bit more. And so I just matted it on a scrap piece of black cardstock I had, and I'm just fiddling it with it a little bit, trying to make it as even as possible, but it's a very, very thin mat. So yeah, that is pretty much how the basic layout is going to end up right there. And I think I'm off now. I'm looking for, oh, I'm not off. I'm still here. I was thinking about using some of this washi, so I'm going to go ahead and lay this vellum down with these pieces, and I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of this picture because I want to pop it up. And I'm just having a look at these washi tapes that I have. So this is my favorite washi, and it's just a black washi that has some texture on the background, like a burlappy type pattern texture, and it says love. And so I put that there, but it's not going to end up staying there. So it's there for now, but it won't end up being there forever. And I think I'm off to try to figure out something about my title at this point. And like I said, I'm so sorry for these parts in the process video that aren't cut out where they should be. My iMovie is horrible, and so I'm scared to do too much. So I'm going to use these stickers here, and I'm sorry I don't know the name or the color of them, but they are like a silver fine glitter. It's almost even like a shimmer. It's not even like a glitter. And they have a white outline in the middle, and yeah, they're in a silver color. And I'm spelling out be nice with those. I'm putting an exclamation point. And then I'm going to take these Target letter stickers that are in like a white, and they have like a silverish middle to the letters and silverish color. And I'm going to spell out tell her I want rice. So the funny thing about this title is my daughters kept telling Cinderella's stepmom and stepsisters to be nice to Cinderella, and it was so funny because they acted like they didn't know what that meant. So they kept coming up with these other things that they thought my girls were saying. So my girls would say, just be nice, and they'd say, tell her I want some rice, or tell her to think twice, or, it was just funny. So my girls were kind of like, no, just be nice. So anyways, that's why the title is what it is. And so I'm going to move that tell her I want rice underneath because it wasn't going to fit horizontally. So the whole title is going to be on that yellow piece right there. And I'm going to take some parentheses from that thicker set that I used and just put those around the tell her I want rice part. So here I am peeling up that washi tape, and you see I've pulled out a whole bunch of embellishments to the right that I want to use, and I'm going to replace it with that film strip washi, just because I hate when you can like kind of see part of a word but you can't really tell what it is, and that's kind of how that washi was going to end up sitting, because I wanted to put this tag under the photo. And so I just decided to go with a pattern washi where I didn't have to worry about half seeing a word and half not seeing a word. And so now I'm going to go through this Dear Lizzie Polka Dot Party sticker pack, which, if you remember, when these first came out, there was like a problem with the manufacturer and they weren't actually stickers, they were perforated. I think they ended up fixing it with the next batch, but I had ended up getting the first batch. So these are just, they're barely even cardstock. They're like computer paper pretty much. But yeah, I decided to use, I pulled out two, but I'm just going to use that one with the butterflies on the back of it. And then I cut out this hashtag from Heidi Swap sticker set. And I'm going to grab this chipboard button that is from an Allison Creft line, which is pretty old. I think it was called Recorded. And it's just a chipboard button in that teal color, and it says smile and has like a Polaroid camera on it. And I'm going to layer this sticker from, I think that's a Me and My Big Idea sticker sheet on that Dear Lizzie die cut that was supposed to be a sticker. And it's just a Polaroid with a heart, and it says something cute, and it has a place for the date on it. So, and then I'm going to grab another one of those stickers, and I'm going to layer it with that chipboard button, and just put some of the cording that came with that button through it and tied a bow. So that's how that came out up there. And then these are some Amy Tan resin bows that were from a few lines back. And I'm just going to take the teal one and put it on with some glue dots there on kind of the corner of that embellishment cluster over there. So here is where I am going through another Amy Tan line from a long time ago. And I wanted to use this yellow doily, and this thing was a pain. I think I did end up cutting part of this out because I had to poke out every one of those little holes. It took forever, but it was worth it. I liked how it ended up looking there. I just needed something with some color on that pink one. So yeah, just going through these embellishments still. These are some Heidi Swap chipboard pieces. And that one says cute. And then I knew I wanted to use this, write this down from a Amy Tan chipboard piece. And so I'm going to put that next to the hashtag. And then these are some vellum arrows. And I'm going to use one. I'm just going to peel the foam tape that comes on the back of it because it's hideous. And I'm going to put that down with my ATG. So yeah, just embellishing and putting different things, different places. I think off these, I'm going to use a few of these epoxy butterflies. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to after I glue this down, this hashtag, write this down. Yeah, I thought about using one of these arrows, but I just didn't like it there. I was having a hard time because I had that cute chipboard piece there, and I just felt like it was kind of like by itself. So I was having a hard time embellishing that area. But I did end up putting some of these butterflies down, and I don't remember if that black one makes it on or not. So I guess we'll find out together. So yeah, just still going through some embellishments that I have. I'm going to throw this Happy, Happy, Happy sticker up there, which is from Bella Boulevard. And I think I'm gonna put some enamel dots. I don't end up using any of these because I just couldn't, they wouldn't show up correctly. Even though I love those they're clear Amy Tan little stickers, word stickers. So yeah, now I think I'm gonna put this little cluster of enamel dots down, and I'm gonna put I think a blue, a gray, and a yellow one. And I'm going to tape this little layered embellishment that I created down, and I think that's going to be it for the embellishing. I ended up putting that chipboard arrow back, and I think it fit better there with the enamel dots. So now I'm going to take this bullet tip zig writer that I have, and it's actually for vellum, but I'm just going to outline these in some really thick, messy outlines, and I wanted it to be really prominent because that's kind of what's framing in my layout. And I like how that came out. So I'm going to write the date in that sticker where it has a date part, which is 1/1/15. And that's the day we were at Walt Disney World, and it is supposedly their busiest day of the year, which I believe it was packed in there. I've been there several times, you know, in my life, and I have never seen it that busy. So, yeah, it's definitely a peak time. So this is a Maggie Holmes roller phrase stamp, and I think I used the one that just says "so much fun," and I just triple stamped that under a couple of the squares. So I think what I'm going to do now is take my T-square ruler here, or T-ruler, I'm not quite sure what they're called, and I'm going to make some lines for my journaling. Sometimes I do this and sometimes I don't, but I do have a tendency to write my journaling crooked, and I think with the squares and stuff, I just wanted it to end up being straight. And so I'm just doing my journaling there and just explaining kind of the story of the title, like I had mentioned before. And I think I was talking to my daughter in that little pause there. So, yeah, just writing my journaling. I'm going to have to make a couple more lines or another line to finish it. And I didn't know she was doing that, so I'm sorry about that. She often climbs in the chair behind me while I'm scrapbooking, and so I don't often know what she's doing up there. So anyways, here's some close-ups of the layout, and yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos from me and Hannah. Thanks, bye.